Welcome to the David Dean Show, a weekly look at West Georgia Wolves football, brought to you by Systems and Methods. SMI, a proud supporter of West Georgia Wolves football.
Upfield 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Malik gone. He's gone. 86 yards, Malik Henry. Strike up the fight song, Cale Self. It's 13-0.
And hello again, everybody, with head coach David Dean. Mitch Gray back with you for the David Dean Show and to look back at West Georgia's victory over Shorter and upcoming against North Greenville. Big home game coming up this weekend. First of all, Coach Dean, 58 points on the board. Other than the opening kickoff, we took care of the ball pretty well all day, and we sure moved it and hung points out there.
Well, we did. That was a disappointing way to start the game. We felt like going into the game that they were going to squib kick or do some type of sky kick based on the success that we've had with our kickoff returns, and lo and behold, they do that, and we just don't adjust to it. We get up on it very slow, and obviously not having that possession to start the game was very disappointing. But our kids really responded well. Our defense came out, got a 3-and-out, got the ball back to us. And then we go down, and I think we go and score in about 6 or 7 plays, which was a great way to respond to that bad adversity right off the bat.
I know a lot of games you give up field position early, et.cetera. We erased that. The running game got going. Devontae with big numbers, Willie Candler another big day. Where do you start on offense in this one?
Well, we were playing very well on offense, and I think we had a couple of drops late in the half. Other than that, we're pretty solid in our pass game in what we were doing. But I think Devontae ran the ball very well. Our offensive line blocked well. They were loading up the box against us again, bringing the safety down and trying to bring an extra guy in there. And we were still able to run the football, which was good to see because we faced that a good bit. But really proud of the way that our offense played the entire game. We got to play a lot of guys. We had our third-team receivers in the ball game in the second quarter. We got to play all 3 quarterbacks that we took into the game. We took 10 offensive linemen. They all got to play in the first half. So it was good to get those guys some playing time again when the game is not out of hand yet.
That's a luxury there that's got to come back. Cross your fingers we don't have major injury problems, but they do pop up from time to time, and that's got to be an advantage for us as we play out not far from the second half of this regular season.
Well, no question. We had 2 offensive linemen that didn't make the trip. Pierre Bird and Demanye Williams did not even make the trip with us and did not play. So we moved a true freshman in as a backup center and got him some experience in the second quarter playing against a good Shorter defense, and that's going to be valuable for us in case we do have some situations down the stretch. Hopefully you don't have those, but you always have to prepare for them, and I thought Spencer Myers came in and did a very good job playing center for the first time for us all year long.
Yeah, talking about Shorter a little bit, I know their record is struggling at all, but they look like an organized football team, a coach team with some young players, and they look like a totally different team this year to last year to me.
Well, they are. They're a different team, and they're playing a lot of young kids, like you said. They do have some older guys on defense, but offensively they're young. You can see them each week. They get a little bit better. I know they didn't score against Valdosta State, but they moved the ball very well. They had a couple of blocked field goals, a missed field goal, and some misfires down in the red zone against Valdosta State. But you can see them getting better, and they proved that Saturday. They had a good game plan against us and moved the ball very well and made some plays. But in about 2 or 3 years, you're going to see a Shorter football team that's going to be very dangerous because they're playing a lot of young kids right now, and they're going to be a very good, formidable Gulf South Conference opponent in about 2 years.
You mentioned getting to play a lot of folks. Looking at the numbers, we'll go kind of defense to offense here. Your leading tackler was a guy who is not – he plays a lot. He's played a lot all year but didn't start with a dozen tackles. I think Steve Osundu led us on that.
He did. He's our backup safety. Plays a lot of special teams for us and went in early in the game and made some big hits on the quarterback. He was the guy that was assigned to the quarterback a lot of times when the quarterback's pulling and running their little quarterback power trap and zone read stuff. And he made some big hits, and I'll give the Shorter quarterback some credit now. He took some pops from Steve, but he kept getting up. That's a tough kid. Both of those quarterbacks they have are tough kids. But I was really proud of the way that Steve played. He came up and made a lot of solo tackles against good players, and we needed that because if he doesn't make those tackles, they're getting huge gains.
Another big day for Willie Candler throwing the football. We didn't throw it a whole lot, but we did make some big plays in the passing game.
We did. We threw the ball early in the game. After we came out and got the 45, I think 14 lead, we kind of pretty much ran the ball the rest of the game, except for throwing a couple of little short passes or screens or something like that. But Willie was very productive. He did have the one bad throw on the screen that we were trying to throw to LaPerrion Perry. He had the drop that we had on I think second or third down in the red zone, and then he had the incomplete that we threw on the Hail Mary right before the half. So other than that, an extremely productive day. Again, great throws that he made. I think we did miss a post route early in the game to Malik Henry, just a slight overthrow. But other than that, he was right on target, making great reads and making great throws.
I know it's not always about numbers, but when you average over 20 yards of completion, you've had a pretty good day, haven't you?
Well, we were very fortunate. We made a lot of catches and got a lot of yards after the catch. They weren't necessarily all deep throws. They were some deep throws, but our receivers did a great job once they made the catch, making people miss and getting down the field and getting extra yards after those catches. And we got to continue to do that. That's something that's going to be very positive for us.
While we're talking offense, number 2 was back. Number 2 didn't carry it a whole lot, but he sure made his numbers there. He passed Mark Evans on the school all-time all-purpose yards list, now over 5,200 for his career. Devontae Jackson is a true difference maker.
He really is, and you could see that in the game. He made the long run, I think 70-something yard touchdown run that he had, made a great move. He had a lot of carries that he made people miss. People were there, and he breaks those tackles, and that's always good to see when you got that. And we're a different football team when Devontae's in there. He's got some good backups, as you saw on Saturday. Christian Royalston is an outstanding running back. Sam and Dim came in and ran the ball very well. We've got a lot of depth there at that running back position, but we go with Devontae. He makes a difference for us offensively, and really excited to see him break that record because I know he's put in a lot of hard work. He's been around here for a long time, and it's a credit to him and all the guys that have blocked for him through his career that he does now own that record.
And the first thing he'll tell you is we're 5-0. Not about
exactly
a record.
Right.
That's the best part. Special teams, Coach. Another kick return, this time the punt game. Good to have Malik Henry back 100%, isn't it?
It is. We missed Malik in the second and third game, and you can see how dynamic he is when he gets the ball in his hands. The one that he fielded after the punt return for a touchdown, he's fixing to break that one for a very long return as well. But I think we averaged somewhere around 30 yards a punt return, and it was all him. I don't say all him, it was his returns, but he had great blocking. And that's just one thing that I continue to see our guys do. They're getting in good positions. They feel comfortable with what we're doing. They're excited about it, and they love returning these kicks for touchdowns. And not very many teams around the country can say that they've had one for, I think, 4 straight weeks that they've had a return for a touchdown. So that's a positive, and hopefully we can continue to score that way because it does make a difference in a game, especially if it ends up being a close game.
And nice to see Omar Cervantes walk out there late in the half. From 42, it would have been good from 55.
Well, he hammered that thing, and that was after we had the substitution infraction. We had an extra lineman out there. We thought we had a guy that was injured, and he goes out to cover him up, but he was back in the game. It's just a mistake from us as a coaching staff, but they said that we had 12 men in formation and the guy's just running out of the field. So Omar had to put that past him, and they moved it back 5 yards, and he still hammered it. And that was a loaded kick. He had plenty of distance on there. He had great height, and he hit it right down the middle. It was great to see him kick one of those.
You mentioned a couple of linemen banged up, didn't make the trip. How are we injury-wise as we sit after 5 football games?
Well, sitting here on a Monday, we're probably still looking at Pierre Bird being out, maybe Devontae Williams also being out. So I think we'll still carry our same offensive lineman that we had in this game. From a defensive standpoint, we're pretty good. Naquan Howard had a hamstring issue. He did not make the trip to Shorter. We'll evaluate him. I don't think it was too serious, so hopefully we'll have him back this week. Other than that, knock on wood, we're pretty good. Hopefully through a physical week of practice this week, we're not going to lose any other guys, and we're going to stay pretty much injury-free.
You mentioned physical. North Greenville's coming in. Our old friend Jeff Farrington bringing a ball club in, and I think the word physical, haven't seen them. You've seen film already, but I can't think of a Jeff Farrington team without the word physical being in there somewhere way up high.
Well, that coincides. You know, Jeff's a great coach, and he teaches physicality. One thing that you see on both sides of the ball and special teams is a Jeff Farrington team. It's a team that is attention to detail, great with technique. They're fundamentally very sound, and that's the way they are. Defensively, they're a very, very big team up front. Their front seven are large guys that move well, and they're very physical. Offensively, they like to knock you off the ball. They run a lot of zone-type schemes where they just get those big guys running and knock you off the ball and mix in some play action here and there. And you watch their game against West Alabama. They took the last drive of the game and scored with 14 seconds. They drove that 78 yards to beat West Alabama this past Saturday, 20-16, and it was just a pure physicality drive that they put together to do that.
These guys are new to the league. I know they were a playoff team 2 years ago. In fact, gave UNA a good solid ball game up in Florence in the playoffs. But they've won back-to-back Gulf South Conference ball games. That'll catch your attention in a hurry.
Well, there's no question. They're 2-0 right now. They beat Delta State and they beat West Alabama. So they beat two teams that perennially, are always very good in the Gulf South Conference. So they're not coming in here in any manner being shy. They're going in with their hands up, and they're swinging hard, and they feel like they can play in this conference, and they can. They've proved that through the first 2 weeks. They did not play against Mississippi College. That was a game that was canceled because of the hurricane. So they really would have an opportunity to possibly be 3-0 coming into this game. So they're one of the teams in the Gulf South Conference that's undefeated right now. So it'll be a heck of a game on Saturday because two teams that are both 2-0 that are again fighting for that Gulf South Conference position as you make that run for the championship down the stretch.
You win games in this league, you certainly draw attention, especially if you can win the conference and, of course, playoff consideration. These are the kind of folks you're going to have to beat to get there.
Well, there's no question. And like you said, 2 years ago, they were in the playoffs, gave North Alabama fits. They were in the hunt last year. I think they were like 8 or 9, so they were just out of the 7 that could possibly go. So this is not a team that you can say is, hey, they're new, they're not going to know what the Gulf South Conference is all about. They've played Gulf South Conference teams. They understand what the Gulf South Conference is all about, and that's why they've gotten in here. Their makeup of their players are a lot like a Gulf South Conference team. So, this is going to be a heck of a football game. They're playing, obviously, with a lot of confidence right now. There was a big win last Saturday night against West Alabama, scoring with 14 seconds to take that lead and win that game. And, they're going to come in here with a lot of confidence. They're well coached, like I said. It's going to be a heck of a battle for us, and hopefully we're going to be up for that challenge.
We certainly look forward to it. It'll be a 2 p.m. kickoff on Rayland Field at University Stadium as the Wolves try to get number 6 and maybe more importantly 3 in a row in conference play. A really good ball club from North Greenville coming into town this weekend. I want to thank Coach David Dean for being with us. Thanks to SMI for bringing this to you each week here on the David Dean Show. Mitch Gray and saying, go Wolves.